Thank you very much. Mr. Bohunicky.
Thank you very much, Dr. Morano. I'd like to add my own thanks and compliments to the organizers of this event, the OAS and IICA, for putting together an important discussion. While it's certainly true that most of the issues we're talking about have been talked about before, we're at a juncture where the timeliness of this discussion is really worth noting. The leaders of the G8 nations, as has been noted previously, made an important new commitment last summer in L'Aquila, and Canada looks forward to its chairmanship of the next G8 meeting and G20 meeting next June. Undoubtedly, many issues. There's an opportunity to continue momentum there. Next month, of course, important ministerial meetings in Jamaica with the Summit of the Americas process and the governing body of IICA, FAO's World Summit on Food Security coming up in November, while meetings of world leaders are far from all that's needed to really tackle the issues we're talking about. The presence of food security on the global agenda seems to be at a new state of prominence, which itself presents a certain opportunity. I'd like to take a few minutes today not to present any prescriptions or solutions, but a few considerations from Canada's point of view. And I would certainly start by endorsing what previous speakers have said about the imperative of a system approach to food security, including agriculture, but going far beyond it and reaching from the laboratory to the field, to logistics and supply chain systems, to markets and to consumers and to tables. And within that context, from the point of view of Canada's agriculture ministries, I'd just like to contribute a couple of considerations about the policy development process in agriculture and about the central importance of trade as one element of that comprehensive approach to food security. Food security is well established among Canada's priorities in international affairs since 2003, and every year since 2003, Canada has been among the top 5 contributors to the World Food Program, and beyond that, in Canada's approach to food security to international assistance, our Minister of International Assistance has put forward 3 major priorities for Canada's role. One, of course, is food security, accompanied, as you see here, by stimulating sustainable economic growth and addressing the future of children and youth. We have untied our food aid entirely last year, and we look forward and certainly welcome the emphasis on agriculture development within the means of addressing food security that was an important area of emphasis pushed by the Obama administration and others in the context of the new commitments at L'Aquila this past summer. So while the central role of agriculture in food security is self-evident, I would note that the complexity of that truism is not always fully grasped. Agriculture is embedded in many sectors of any society, in its economy, in its public administration, and this is true at national, regional, and local levels, where public responsibilities at all of those levels and more come into play. And as we've seen and has been better appreciated in the recent discussions, agriculture and agriculture policy is a central element of health issues, of prosperity and well-being of individual citizens, of environmental sustainability, of tackling climate change, economic development in both developed and developing countries. And policy development processes must grapple with the full breadth of that complexity. Consultation and consensus building towards an effective agriculture policy must take in a number of levels of government, all aspects of society, public and private sectors, stakeholders, and the general public in a coherent way in order to address the full breadth of that complexity and to have a successful agriculture policy that contributes to food security. In Canada, policymakers have a lot of recent experience grappling with that complexity. I'd just like to share a couple of observations about that agriculture policy development. We have a framework, a broad framework for agriculture policy in Canada called Growing Forward that was negotiated at length and agreed and launched by the agriculture ministers of our national government, my own ministry, and all 13 provinces and territories, with a consensus on 3 very broad outcomes. As you see on this slide, a competitive and innovative agriculture and agri-food sector, one that responds to society's priorities, particularly with respect to the environment and health, and a sector that's proactive in managing risks. So with that consensus on priorities, as well as hard accountability for results, and an approach to implementation responsive to local needs, that Growing Forward policy framework really is an umbrella for dozens of program initiatives and policies and investments in many cases, in fact a majority of cases, initiatives that are implemented and delivered not by the national government but at the provincial and regional level. The balance is a challenge, a balance between national goals and tailoring for local needs. And there's no perfect or right answer to that. The answers will vary depending on the needs and realities from one country to another. So it's certainly not a one-size-fits-all, but that inclusiveness and breadth in policy development is certainly one of the lessons we draw relevant